Good morning, everybody. I'm glad you're here. It's a beautiful day. The sun's coming in and out. We're finally starting to feel like it's summer out here, which is a lot of fun. And I've been doing a ton of yard work. I've been mulching, and this is so unlike me. And the reason it's always been unlike me is because I've spent a lot of my life trying to do things to kind of just sort of survive. You know, mornings were rough. I'd get stressed out easy. I'd feel anxious easy. I was reactionary, stuff like that. So it was hard to get a lot done. And only after. So I'm Rita Hickman, body mind expert, shiatsu massage therapist, and I help women in toxic and narcissistic relationships to go from feeling overwhelmed and exhausted with brain fog and joint problems and health problems and relationship problems and low energy and turn it all around. It's absolutely not hopeless, not at all, because my specialty, one of the things I'm good at, sure, I'm good at the head game, you know, about the beliefs and the patterns, but what I'm really good at is the body-mind connection, the things that make you feel not good enough physically, that things that you want to do, that you can person that you want to be. That's my specialty, is getting those blocks out of the way, the physical blocks, the pain, the inflammation, the aggravation, and looking at what's being caused by not only your everyday choices, but also by old memories that are still being stored in the body, old issues, old patterns which where you lock up. I'll give a good example. Let's say someone was slapped as a child in the face, and from then on, even put it away and compartmentalized it, you know, because it was just too devastating. Why did this happen? Why did they do this? What's going on? From then on, typically, what will happen, if it was something that happened on a regular basis, or even if it just happened once, whenever anybody's hand would start to look like they might come up near someone's face, that person would probably start to get anxious. Their heart would start to beat faster. They'd look for ways to avoid it. They'd look for ways to avoid getting anything close to their face. They'd tell their friends and things like, no, I just don't like things near my face. And what it would be is that memory of pain. Every time somebody's hand would come up, you know, to your face, maybe they would remember when that happened. And typically a memory, you keep remembering the thing that happened that caused you the pain, and your whole focus is there. And when that happens, you start to get other physical health issues. So the reason that I got into this is when I hit 30, I hit a point with my IBS that I said every morning I would wake up and everything in my body would purge from every single orifice. And this went on for years and years and years. And I was angry every morning when I wake up, like rageful angry. And I usually didn't feel better until 30. That was ridiculous. And that got bad enough. That's what really put me on this path. I said, I can't keep doing things the way that I've always been. So now, almost 20 years later, you know, it's become my passion and my calling to help other women deal with this stuff. So IBS is typically an irritation of your small intestines. And if we're going to come at it from the Chinese medicine, not the Chinese medicine point of view, but the chakras point of view, that's kind of your sense of power and identity and control. And when you feel powerless, what happens is the way your body protects itself is that it locks up. So different parts of your intestinal digestive system can react differently and hold different memories and parts and pieces of it. In fact, your whole digestive system is, women especially who've had trauma, or they've had a narcissist in their life, or they've had this feeling of helplessness or hopelessness, will tend to lock up their digestive system. And when it's in that, like on that edge all the time, it starts to get inflamed. And that inflammation and locking up then starts to lead, almost 2 decades really looking at what is causing this and what can I do about this, and really reversing my own. And I've helped so many women reverse their own too. So let's look at it from a couple different points of view. Point of view number one is the health physical aspect. So what's happening is our digestive system is getting overwhelmed and overworked and burnt out, and it has like 3 cells deep. It only has a very small protection between everything that's in your intestines and your bloodstream. So many women start to get help not even when they have IBS, but when the IBS turns into leaky gut, which means that all the toxins and all the things which are supposed to stay in your digestive system start dumping into your blood system and causing even bigger, more inflammatory problems. And that's when they're like, oh no, what's going on? And no one can figure it out. Typically by then it's leaky gut caused by stress and diet and that. But where it comes from, one of the biggest contributors, besides diet, of course, which is important, but one of the biggest contributors are the feeling of helplessness and powerlessness that happens in our gut. Because if we don't do things to protect ourselves, our body's going to do things to protect itself, and our nervous system locks up for that reason. So how do we start to reverse these things? We start to reverse them by, one, working on the physical level. You want to work on enough that you drink your water in the morning, that you've got good fiber. You want to make sure that that you're taking really good fats, because that helps keep your digestive system working. You want to make sure you're on a good probiotic or kombucha or apple cider vinegar, something that helps with your digestive process. You can take things like aloe vera juice, and those will help heal what's going on in your gut as well. So there are many physical things that you can do to start healing your gut, to start getting your body to get that microbiome to get happy again and start to heal itself. Because the body is amazing. When you start giving it what it needs, that's just what it does. Something happens, you heal. Something happens, and you heal. What gets in the way is us. Our choices and our reactions to things. Even the fact that, green bananas, interestingly enough, green bananas have the sugars that your large intestine can use, that keeps the bacteria in your large intestine happy and healthy and functioning well. So you can work on the physical piece, of course, which is, as I said, diet, exercise, water, fiber, healthy fats, healthy sugars in your. When you get past getting that healthier, a little foundation of healthy habits, now it's time to start working on the energy piece. Every morning I do energy work, and usually it's on my digestive system, usually it's on my gut, because I still have remnants in there of beliefs and ideas and memories and thoughts that every time that thought comes up, my gut will tighten up. Every time something feels a little too much, my gut will tighten up. And that constant tightening up or chronic tightening up really causes lack of circulation, keeps your body from healing itself. And old beliefs are held in your digestive system because, I'll give a good example. When I first got into body work, one of the things that we talked about was how you could look at someone, and by looking at how they moved, you could tell all sorts of things about them. You could tell if they broke their arm when they were a kid, whether the rehab was very good on it. You could tell what sort of culture they came from, maybe what sort of health problems that their parents had, that may be coming up for them. You can tell all sorts of things by looking at how people move. It's because the body holds a record of of past traumas, of things going on. And until we go back in there and we're present to them, then it's going to keep arm when they were a child, and it was in a sling, and it was kept close. And for a while they just got used to using the other hand, but they never did really good range of motion rehab. They never did things where they brought their consciousness back into their body. Because what happens is when something hurts, we like to ignore it. And when we ignore it, our body doesn't send as much healing fluids. It doesn't send as much blood. The blood vessels are narrower. It doesn't send as many nervous system signals. It doesn't send as much lymph. And that part of you doesn't really heal. And one of the parts that struggles with is the nervous system. And it's something that we don't talk about, is how the nervous system holds on to old injuries. And so if we vacated, let's say, the arm that we broke, if we, started to pay attention to something and ignore, what was going on over here with the arm that was broken, what'll happen is our nervous system will continue to think that it's broken. It'll continue to think it needs to protect it. It will continue to react and tighten up and try to do things, and it'll start to become frozen. It'll start to become a frozen shoulder or a frozen joint, because it's your nervous system that's keeping it locked down, because it hasn't figured out yet that it's healed, that it has the abilities that it really has. It's still worried that it's going to protect it. It's the same thing with our gut, or the same thing with anything we've got an old body memory with. When it happens, our nervous system pays attention to something else because we don't like pain. But if we don't come back to it and reintegrate it into our body, it's going to cause problems. And that's a big, big cause of IBS, is because we vacate our digestive system. We don't want to pay attention to it because it starts to get uncomfortable. And when we do that, then all those beliefs and all those ideas and all those memories, they don't get an upgrade. It's like a software upgrade. And this is where energy work comes in. Energy work, especially coming from the Chinese medicine perspective, is that the reintegrating of the physical with the mental and the emotional. That's the energy work. It's a lot about integration. So the energy work that I do every morning is that it puts you into a very relaxed mind state. But here's the deal. If your mind and your nervous system get relaxed and then go on a vacation, they're still not doing the work. It's still not taking the pain and the difficulty and integrating it back into who you really are, and not still playing that old physical pattern. Remember how they always talked about how, you have tapes in your nervous system too, running in your body. So I'll rest my hands there. And the key is to bring your consciousness, to let yourself be super present with the heat that starts to rise underneath your hands, with the thoughts or the ideas that start to come up, and just being present with them, just listening to them, and maybe giving them the parenting that they need. So one of the words I worked with this morning was failure. Afraid of failing. I have to start looking at failure differently, and maybe even take the word out of my vocabulary, because it's not about failure. It's about evolving. It's about becoming the highest version of yourself. It's about going for your goals. And when we tend to look at it as failure instead of as the next great step in the process of reaching our goals, we label it as failure. You screwed up. You got a C. You didn't complete the marathon. You didn't finish your assignment. You failed, instead of recognizing that it's just that next step, that next evolution to get towards where you want to be. And you have to take those steps. So if you want to start healing your gut energetically, if you've been doing all the healthy things, if you haven't been doing the healthy things, start putting them into place. Start taking things like CBD oil. Do all of those things that will get your gut healthy. And when your gut's starting to get healthy, that's when you can start to do this energy work. And it's mainly about integration. It's mainly about being present and listening to whatever you're holding down there, whatever memories, thoughts, ideas, beliefs. And it's not just one, because that's our center. Usually, that's where we'll hold a vast majority of things, because that's what we see as most vulnerable. Our belly, our soft insides feel the most vulnerable about stuff. So many people, they work on a head game. They think on, well, I have to change my thoughts. It's time to start working on changing our body. It's time to start giving it the love and compassion that it's looking for. It's time to start giving it the listening and the witnessing that those thoughts and memories need. And when you're doing this, really, you sit there and you feel maybe how suddenly you'll get a chill. That's your blood vessels opening up. That's your body coming in to heal something. It's great when that happens. Maybe you start to feel heat rising and getting warm, finally opening and relaxing, and the blood coming in there and starting to fix it. Starting to not only fix the damage that's been done from chronic tightening it up, at our choices, but also to start to rewire our nervous system. Because witnessing and being present are some of the most beautiful things you can do for your body, to go back to those ideas and thoughts and memories wherever you feel them in yourself, and listen and love them, almost as if they are another part of you. And they are. They're stuck in that loop of some age, of some trauma, of some memory that they were too scared to let go of. And now that you're older and you have better tools and you listen to these live streams every week, you're much better able to handle this stuff and to work through it. So it's time to reparent yourself. It's time to be there for your body, and you're not going to let it get beat up as much anymore. And when things do happen, you're going to take time to nourish and be compassionate with it. So IBS is one of the biggies that people get when it starts to come with trauma and anxiety. Because for me, I would lock up in my gut so that my face could stay relaxed, so that I would always look relaxed. I would always look like I was in control, because my gut was in knots. It was holding all of that tension, letting me be able to relax. And so it's time to start reversing that. Reversing the things which are held there and causing that tension, okay? So, your assignment today is to do some energy work. It's time to do a little bit of work on you, on those parts and pieces of you that you've disenfranchised, that you've cut off, that you said are no good, that were too painful to look at. And give yourself at least a good hour, hour and a half to lay there or sit there and listen, and finally love those parts and pieces that never felt loved and never felt cared about. It's easy enough. What you do is you find a spot to be in. You don't have to do anything special. You do a body scan to feel where you're holding discomfort or irritation, or cramping, or acid, or whatever it may be. You feel for that, and then you just be present to it. You put your hands there, you put a warm stone there, you put something that's heavy there, something to be present to it, and feel it. And pay attention to the thoughts and ideas, and undo that. It's the act of being present with compassion and love that's actually the technology of healing. Because different chemicals come up, and our body starts to relax and open up, and really do a deep dive and a deep focus on the things that keep you feeling sick and controlled, okay? So if you've got IBS because of a narcissist and stress and toxicity in your life, you can reverse it. You are not trapped. You are not stuck. And when you start doing these practices of releasing the memories and emotions, giving it love, rethinking about what's hanging out there, and also doing the healthy dietary stuff and movement, you will find that it's completely reversible, as a lot of diseases are. I mean, they're finding so many things are reversible when we work on the body-mind piece, okay? So, I think that's it for today. You do your homework. If you're interested in the coaching group that I do, I put the link in the title. So just click on that, and you'll be able to find out more information about the coaching group. There's also a book that I've partnered with, a Narcissist ebook. And I think I put the link on yesterday's live stream, so look for that if you're interested in that. And I also do one-on-one coaching packages. So when people need extra help, when they need extra support, when they want to be on a fast track, let's say they want to leave a job or leave a relationship, or they're having serious health issues that they need to reverse, that they've got for whatever reason, you need to speed it up a little bit and you want more in depth and more support, let me know. It's a little bit more of an intensive package, but we're able to get your results a lot faster. So if you're curious, send me a message and we'll get a time down where we can start talking about it, okay? Because you don't have to feel trapped and you don't have to feel stuck, because it's just not true. Even if in our external circumstances we feel we're trapped, stuck, we're not ready to make a move, we can't make a move because of circumstances, it doesn't mean that you can't start healing your body. In fact, that's where it starts. When you start healing your body and you start healing your mind, when you start feeling differently inside of yourself, then your whole external world starts to change, because you respond differently to people, you dance differently with people, and you give off a different vibe, and you start to attract different people into your life. So it's where when we work on this internal stuff, then that sets the tone for everything else, okay? So I'll talk to you later. Happy Friday. I will see you next Monday, and I'm looking forward to hearing how your energy work went. All right, I'll talk to you later.